Hey everybody, welcome to Old Roommates. It's our special Valentine's Day episode. We are going to review The Love Boat, Season 4 specifically. So head on over to the Acapulco Lounge as we set sail and revisit The Love Boat.
Hey everyone, it is Old Roommates. Brian, I have to say, before I even begin, that was an excellent cold opening. I think that was like the best cold opening you've ever done.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
Yeah, I really loved that cold opening.
Thank you.
Great. Very well thought out. So, The Love Boat.
Yeah, and so Season 4...
Season 4.
It is, so we did some research, and it was the most watched season. It really was the height. I mean, by the way, The Love Boat has been, was I think a top 20 show its entire run.
It's unbelievable.
And, not that there was a whole lot to choose from back then.
Right.
But Season 4 was the pinnacle of success for The Love Boat. That doesn't usually happen in most TV shows.
No, usually 4... Well, I mean, I think 4 is... I always say...
Oh.
This is my theory on shows.
She always says this.
I always say this.
Yeah.
I feel like a sitcom...
Yeah.
Or any, really, like a TV show...
A
weekly show should only have four seasons. I feel like after 4, it usually goes down. I think the ideas are gone. They start jumping sharks.
Wow.
Things like that. But I really feel like the ideal number of seasons is 4. That's just my thought. But
wow.
Yeah. So our thought process on this was that, we've revisited many shows in this podcast, and I think for a while we would just choose the season 1, but season 1 isn't always the most...
You see, that's what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say, season 1 of most shows tend to be, sort of the roughest or the least...
Yeah, it's when you're getting to know the characters.
Right.
It's not, when looking back, it's not typically what you remember the show to be.
Yeah.
So we've given that some thought, and that's why we did a lot of research on The Love Boat, because we didn't really want to necessarily have the first season. And I'm glad we chose season 4, because I'm glad we chose one with Vicki, because that was kind of a big memory of mine, having Vicki on there.
Yeah.
And, it was, obviously, the chemistry is a little bit more established and things like that. So, anyway.
So let's hear your thoughts on The Love Boat then.
So then, oh my gosh, it was 1977. Yeah. I was 10 years old during season 4.
Yeah.
And I remember this show. I loved this show. We watched this show. It was Saturday nights. It was right before Fantasy Island. So we would watch The Love Boat and Fantasy Island. And I remember it being kind of a big deal. I'm pretty sure Love Boat was on at 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And then Fantasy Island was on at 10.
Correct. Yeah.
And it was a big deal to be staying up that late.
Yeah.
Staying up till 11 was a huge deal in our house. My mother couldn't wait to get us to bed. Mm-hmm. So it was a Saturday night, I'm pretty sure, right? It was either a Friday or Saturday.
Oh, shit.
Was it a Friday or Saturday night?
I feel like Friday was monopolized by Dallas and Falcon Crest.
Probably,
I think Saturday was Love Boat.
Yeah, that was my gut thought. Yeah. It was a Saturday. So, but we watched this every week. I'm speaking for my sisters too, but we loved watching it. I could just see us sitting in the living room, just crossing our legs, sitting on the floor, just watching it. And just, there was something about it. I could tell that it was not a kids show, which was kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want it to be just a kids show. Because it started at 9, it was a little bit more. And there was always something to do, obviously, with love and, a little bit of sex, but usually that was more of in a comedic kind of situation. Mm-hmm. But I loved it. I thought it was great. I loved the characters. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be on a Love Boat. I wanted to just take a cruise, all that. So yeah, full of love.
Yeah. So my take is, I guess a little similar. I looked forward to The Love Boat. It was again, Saturday night, you're a kid, And you're watching this like because it felt very grand. Like, it felt like a big production. I mean, and it goes back to the idea of like there wasn't a whole lot of things to watch back in the late 70s, really. And there were maybe 10 channels, I don't know.
Right.
But like you really, it was almost always like event television, and the guest stars, they would have big guest stars.
Yeah. That was a big deal. Yeah. Like I remember just watching the beginning of it and just like, who's going to be on? Like, you didn't really know. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like now. Like, if it was on now, you would know who was showing up when.
Yeah.
Like, it would not be a surprise. It was a big surprise, like watching that little anchor coming up to change the...
Well, so now I can get back to the rest of my sentence, Christine. So I have this very vivid memory, and I think it still exists within me. When that anchor goes up and it introduces the crew, this is Aaron Spelling. We should probably say this. Because Aaron Spelling, I would argue, I'm going to say something controversial, as controversial as your statement earlier, that I think he does the best openings of TV shows. Like, when you're, like, I couldn't imagine not feeling like a major star in the hands of Aaron Spelling, by which I mean these introductions when it's like, and now your Love Boat crew, and the anchor goes up, and it's like Gavin McCloyd is Captain Stubing, and like
you love it.
I would love to be a star on the Love Boat. Absolutely. I mean, like, you get your own circle, you get your own moment, and to be a part of the permanent cast. I mean, you go back to, like, even, like, well, not back, you go forward to 90210, Melrose Place. I mean, they really treated their stars well. You get your own moment, you get your name on the thing. Shows today, you're lucky if there's even an opening credit. They don't waste time. Like, shows now, they just start. And it's like, you don't have a theme song, you certainly don't have a title card in front of your face.
Right.
So, and I think this really speaks to, like, Aaron Spelling and, like, Charlie's Angels. It's the same thing. You get your segment. So what I love, and I love the song, the Love Boat song. Actually, just some behind the scenes, I asked Christina if we could play the song as our intro for this one moment, and she said no.
No,
she said
definitely not.
She said we'll play it during the break. But even the theme song is just like, it's like Lounge Lizard. Like, you feel like you're on a boat. You feel like, right.
Like you sway to it. It's like...
I am sorry. I am going to say this. I know I sound cheesy, but it reminds me a little bit of the Facts of Life. That like, it feels appropriate. Like, the Love Boat theme song sounds like something you would hear on a cruise in the 70s.
Definitely.
It's very, like I said, Lounge Lizard, very, like, balmy. And just like the stars, and I remember being like Romper. Remember Romper Room when she would read your name? She would say, through the magic mirror. That level of excitement was Love Boat style, because it's like guest stars in alphabetical order.
I love how they do that.
And you're just waiting. I know, and you're waiting, and you're sitting there waiting, going, "Who am I going to know?" And that was event television.
Absolutely.
Every Saturday. And the stories, honestly, I was so young, I don't know if I always followed them. Like, I was watching this, a lot of episodes of episode 4, and I'm like, never would have understood that storyline.
Yeah, well, you were a lot younger.
Yeah, I was pretty young, yeah. Maybe like 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old.
I was 10 and then 77.
Oh, it was season 4 77?
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't have understood a lot of it, I guess. Yeah. But I think, like, the colors, the people, the drama, the music, like, Isaac. I remember Gopher. Yeah. I remember Gopher being, like a laugh riot.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I think it was, like, probably more entertaining for the kids. Like, Gopher was more entertaining to kids, I think. I am about to sneeze.
Oh, my gosh. I thought you were going to say something funny, because you were like, I thought you were just trying not to laugh, but you were holding back.
I might have gone away.
Just for the love of God, block.
I will
block the moisture.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did I write? My dream, turning around. Just that, and that whole thing about turning around and laughing at nothing during the opening credits.
It's great.
Like Doc, when he turns and he's like, oh, with a stethoscope around his neck.
Which is probably never used.
Funny.
Just great, charming, inviting. I
Yeah, so let's dive into now. Yeah.
But even now, watching the credits, I did not fast forward through any of those credits. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. Every single episode we watched. Yeah. Still exactly. I'm I still get that same kind of that warm fuzzy feeling.
Nostalgia.
Da 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 love.
Yeah.
Oh my god! It's oh.
And I remember being little and hearing that lyric love won't hurt anymore, and I'm like, love hurts? What is this? What's this about?
Oh, you're so young.
I was so young. But one thing about this, and this is going to sound crazy, but I'm old enough, and I believe this from my heart. I do think they should show the Love Boat in certain screenwriting classes, because what happens is different. The construct of the Love Boat are usually 3 stories.
Yes.
Per each cruise, okay?
Yeah.
And each story is written by different writers. And somehow they all have to begin and end at exactly the same time.
Yeah. Well, they have the pinnacle moments.
That's right.
And then the resolution.
And I was really entertained by this because, some of these, and we're going to get into this, some of these little stories have become major motion picture storylines. Mm-hmm. And there's some where I'm like, that is actually a movie. That is a plot of an Adam Sandler movie. Mm-hmm. The guy who, and we're going to go episode to episode.
We're going to try to do episode to episode.
We might jump around a little bit. But really quick, there's one where the man is trying to hide, he believes his girlfriend is having an affair, and she's on this cruise. So, master of disguise, he puts on a pair of sunglasses, and she doesn't recognize him. He's standing in the corner. Sunglasses are just a thing.
And he has a unique look. He has the big afro.
The big afro. The big afro. And he's a, certain kind of dresser. And it's really, she doesn't see him. If Carl had on sunglasses and was standing 10 feet away, I'd be like, Carl, what are you doing? Come over here.
Exactly. Come on over. Yeah. I like your sunglasses.
So, it's just weird that she didn't recognize him. It's weird that he thought he would get away with it, which he does, actually. Yes. But and then he pretends to be a spy to this other woman who falls in love with him. Right. Sure. Could that not be an Adam Sandler movie?
100%.
I'm gonna spy on my girlfriend who's cheating on me with this other girl. I think it's sort of Forgetting Sarah Marshall in some ways. This is what I mean. So I think it's they should show the Love Boat in screenwriting classes to really understand timing, pace, the denouement, what happens to the person that's left behind on the cruise, because sometimes that happens. You're what happened to the character? But it's an interesting structure for storytelling.
Definitely.
And I talked a lot, so go ahead. I was trying to cover up your sneeze.
What's left? No, the sneeze is gone, so I think I'm good with the sneeze. So now I was very much looking forward to watching these shows. And I'm so glad we chose season 4. And I'm so glad we chose the episodes that we did. So we chose, 6 or 7 episodes?
And I will say, Christina, to your credit, you curated them. Because you did some research.
I did. I did a little research, which was a little difficult, actually. But I wasn't really looking at the guest stars as much, but I wanted to make sure that the crew members each had sort of a storyline in the episodes that we chose. So, it's not perfect, but at least everybody is sort of showcased in one or more of these episodes.
Yeah.
So we'll start with episode 1.
Yeah, episode 1, season 4.
Episode 1, I think, was great. I think it was actually the strongest guest starring cast that we had and it was probably because it was season 1, right? Going to have bigger stars. But we had Tom Hanks and Doris Roberts and Dennis Cole, which you'll have to look him up. Everybody knows who Dennis Cole is when you look at his face because he was in a million things in the 80s and 70s. Vic Tayback. Am I saying that name right?
Yeah, that's right.
And Nipsey Russell.
Oh my God!
Right?
This was quite the cast.
This was if you
quintessential love
exactly
boat.
Quintessential cast on the Love Boat. So, and this was Tom Hanks in 77, so this is his bosom buddy days.
When was Bosom Buddies on? I thought that was 80.
I think it was 70s. We'll look it up.
We'll
look it up.
But
he looked like,
Do you remember what his character's name is?
I don't remember.
Ricky Martin.
So funny. So funny. So, yeah, and I mean, where do I begin? I mean, it was just super, super fun. So Tom Hanks is a friend of Gopher's, and he's like super like successful and a bachelor and all that kind of stuff. And so like Gopher pretends to be in a relationship with Julie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I could just go on through the whole thing. Let's see. I have all these little quotes. So one of the things I really loved is like the punny little jokes. They were like so fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nipsey Russell, can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead, jump in.
So Nipsey Russell walks in, and
the
storyline for Nipsey Russell is he's meeting up with Vic Tayback from Alice, and a couple other guys from their old army days. Okay, and Vic Tayback is like this. Their old sergeant or colonel, whatever, and he's a total ball buster. And they all went to have this reunion with him. Nipsey Russell walks in, and someone comments on his hair and how good his hair looks. And he's like, well, you know, buy a little, die a little. In the studio, you know, and the laugh tracks go crazy. I laughed out loud.
I did too.
Buy a little, die a little. And the laugh track is interesting. I don't know if I forgot that.
I don't know if I was aware of it. Honestly, like, I don't know if I would have, at 10 years old, thought, oh, it's a laugh track. Like, I would have probably thought there was, like, a real...
It's strange. I found it strange this time around, the laugh tracks, because, like, we're on a cruise ship. Where's the studio audience? Like, like it's one or the other. Like, either we're on a cruise... or we're on a sound stage with an audience, a live studio audience. Right. It felt weird to me being a middle-aged person.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure.
You know, so
well, and you don't really like laugh tracks anyway.
I hate laugh tracks
because you don't like being told when we're supposed to laugh.
That's right. I love a live studio audience.
Yes.
I love a live studio audience. I despise a laugh track.
Yeah.
And, like, it's like 8 is enough. There's so many outdoor... Like, we talked about that. There's so many outdoor scenes, and there's a laugh track. It's like, do you have a live studio audience sitting on the street?
Right.
And, like, they only used it for Nicholas. We talked about that. But,
yes.
But for Love Boat, I found it... I don't know if it needed it. Because it's... You know why? Because you're like... oh, Nipsey Russell. And the next scene is about abortion.
Oh, my God.
How many times did they say abortion on the season premiere?
It was crazy.
Of season 4 of
It was crazy. And I love it that, like, what was so interesting to me was, like, so 70s where she was, like, so ashamed to be, like, she didn't want to tell people that she was pregnant because she was single.
Can we stay on that?
Yeah.
You're exactly right. And it's really interesting the way the show structured her character. Mm-hmm. I wrote this in my notes. I found it so bizarre. Her lines, and I don't know who this actress is. She's a blonde woman. She honestly like reminded me of someone that would be on like The Price is Right as a showcase.
You know, she reminded me of
Cheryl Ladd.
No, Dixon. Donna Dixon.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
She reminded me a little bit of Cheryl Ladd too. But I noticed this. Every single line was a complete sentence.
Interesting.
And because meaning like he would, like the guy, I wrote monkey plot, banana guy. I don't know why I wrote that. But basically, why did I write banana guy? Every time I wrote his name, I wrote banana guy. But it's that guy, Cole, that you said. Her love interest in this.
Yeah.
He would say something like, oh, he's like, I'm just surprised a lady like you is alone on the boat. She's like, and her reply is like, I love traveling by myself. It helps me clear my head about things in life. Like, but it's not that she's saying, and I'm making a joke. She's not saying this like in a robotic way, but she is saying this in complete sentences. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is this show taking a stance that abortion, meaning she is a well-spoken woman who just happens. That's right.
Yep.
I'm sorry to say, a woman who must have a little bit of money, a beautiful woman, who takes care of her appearance, who just happened to have made a bad decision. But look how smart she is, everyone.
Right.
Like, it
at
felt
one point,
very deliberate.
I think it must have been Doc. I didn't write. I have so many notes, like, I'm not going to be able to even decipher what the hell I wrote. But at one point, I must have been Doc that said, you know your options. Yeah. In other words, you know you can get an abortion to her.
But they say abortion many times in this episode.
Yes, they do. But she said, but that's, and I'm like, I wrote, like, are you kidding me? Like,
right.
Really?
You mean like she would,
like,
what do you mean by that? Like she wouldn't know that?
Yeah, kind of. Like, I felt like that was something that I kind of noticed a lot through all of these episodes, is that, like, the women are really portrayed as pretty dumb. A lot of them. But, I mean, this one in particular, she was smart, but I think the men around her treated her stupid. Right? Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Because, like, this whole, like, you know your options. Yeah, of course she knows her options.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, Doc, are you going to perform an abortion on this ship right now? Like, what the hell?
Could you imagine?
Here, let me make you an appointment.
Oh my...
This will be resolved by 9 o'clock.
God.
By 10 o'clock. Yeah, it was just like...
Oh my God.
It was...
Christina, that never crossed my mind. That never crossed my mind that she'd get an abortion on the Love Boat. Oh my God.
It's taking a stance for you. And then, the whole thing with that whole relationship, like, at one point he says to her, I must have been after he found out that she was pregnant, and she's apparently proud of it. He actually says that. She's apparently proud of it. Like, of course. And then he ends up, like, and then he asks, have you considered an abortion?
I had that in my notes. He says, I wrote, his name's Dennis, finally, right? His name's Dennis. I wrote, what a
Which
jerk.
is funny, his actual name in real life is Dennis, so it's cool.
Oh. So I wrote, he says, like without missing a beat, he's like, oh, have you considered an abortion? And she's like, well, I don't think taking, what did she say?
I didn't write down her response.
Something like, I don't think taking a life, oh, it's really, it's a bit intense.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, I need time. I'll call you later. It's like, don't do me any favors, Apple.
Seriously.
I've known you for a day.
She met him 2 days ago.
That's right.
2 days ago, and now
like,
he's asking her to get an abortion.
Like, who is he to her? Nothing.
Yeah.
I met you yesterday, and you're telling me what to do with my life and my pregnancy.
In fact, I was actually sad to see him reappear. Like, I was like, I wish they had resolved that.
1,000%. He is not good for her.
No.
Not good enough.
He never even left a note.
No.
He never left a note.
No.
He just left.
I'll call you later.
I'll call you later.
Gee, thank you so
Bye.
much. Yeah.
And then, how did they even resolve it? Like, he just came back and said, oh, okay.
He came back. He thought about it.
She forgave him very, very quickly.
Yep.
That's one of my notes.
I
loved the little storyline with Vic Tayback and Doris Roberts.
Super cute.
Loved both of them so much, and they had so much chemistry.
Yep.
They had a ton of chemistry. They were only in a couple of little scenes.
Yep.
But they were so, so good together. Like, I wanted them to get married in real life.
This is something that I don't remember happening on the Love Boat, but it happens in 2 of the episodes we watched where someone who works on the Love Boat quits within the episode and leaves to go get married, or because they have fallen in love.
Isn't that
or they get discovered, which we'll get to that. I wrote the men on the Love Boat are very forward with their I can't remember anything. I love this. The men are very forward. I wrote Tom Hanks, he puts his hand on Julie's leg, and then Dennis grabs the pregnant woman's arm on more than one occasion. It's like they're very, very handsy on the show. There's one scene, I don't know if it's this episode 1, where Gopher is just making out with someone under the stairs, and you never see her again. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was weird.
And then Doc, there's another episode, Doc's just walking along the boat with his arm around a woman. She's wearing a green bathing suit. And his arm is just around her. And they're walking very romantically.
He's always supposed to be the womanizer on that show, which was funny because he's so unattractive. But but what made me laugh about this, and we can talk about the crew later or now, either way. But I thought it was really funny how there was very little working involved with the crew. Like, they were constantly... Isaac's the only one that really did a lot of work, because he was always behind the bar, serving drinks and stuff. But, and the captain, I suppose. But so many times, Julie, Doc, and Gopher are like sitting in the pool,
playing
cards.
Games. Oh yeah.
I'm like, is that really your job? Drinking, like they were drinking on the job constantly.
Christina,
Eating.
let's quickly jump because it's to your point.
Yeah.
The Pointer Sisters guest star one of the episodes.
Yes.
And they are working on the Love Boat. Like they're playing characters.
Yes.
They're
like housekeepers.
Housekeepers. Yeah. They're playing housekeepers on the Love Boat. Every time they show the Pointer Sisters working, they're not working. They're just walking along the Love Boat. The three of them together. And it reminded me so much of our days working at Jordan's Furniture. I'm like, I would have busted that shit up so fast.
You gotta get out
It's like, enough. There's, what do we call them? Clustering? Guys know clusters.
Clustering, yes.
Clustering.
Yes.
There's a cluster.
Oh my God.
The Love Boat needs, like, a better staff management.
Yes.
There's a lot of wasted man hours on this ship.
Yeah, it's so funny. And I could almost see Julie has a little bit of an excuse because that's sort of her role to like mingle and stuff.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be drinking and fraternizing and like making out.
I mean, Gopher, there's more than a couple times, him and Doc are like just making out with random people on the boat. It's a bit strange.
It's a little strange.
Like sexual harassment, which... Anyway, yeah.
What was funny about Gopher is when I was watching, especially in this first episode, I have a note saying he's actually level-headed. Like, he's not as goofy as I had remembered him being.
I didn't laugh at a single Gopherism.
Right?
And as a kid, I remember him being the funniest thing
He was hilarious.
What happened?
I don't know.
Maybe the laugh track tricks you into thinking he's funnier than he is.
That could be, yeah.
I loved Isaac. So I have that little moment in this episode where he's wearing leopard print pajamas. Gopher comes over.
I know I have it written down. Look.
He's like,
leopard
you woke
print.
me. Yes.
And Gopher has cartoons on
Yes, that's right. So he says, Isaac's like, you woke me out of a Donner summer dream for this? and then it's actually quite funny because then Gopher says, Isaac, come on. Do you think two people who work together can have a relationship? And Isaac says, hey, just because I let you in here, don't get funny on me. He's like, I'm talking about Julie.
Yeah, that whole side storyline was so...
That's funny. And actually, I would dare to say they actually had chemistry.
They had some chemistry, and I was happy that it was resolved the way that it was. Like, I couldn't remember this. I actually couldn't remember like actual storylines.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
no, of course,
at all.
Of course not.
For the listeners, they had to pretend they were boyfriend girlfriend, and they were like hanging out or whatever. In the middle of it, they decide, they actually have feelings for each other, and they're trying to kind of figure out what to do then. And then at the very end, they kind of admit to each other that they have feelings for each other, and then they kiss, and they're like, oh wait, you know what, we don't really, and they both decide at the same time this isn't really a thing. So I liked that it was like kind of a mutual
well, you got the idea that like it was brought on by the
Bachelor guy,
right, and like there was like excitement in this lie, this like mysterious little lie, and then they don't need to do it anymore, and they're like, and they kiss, and they're like, I guess there's really nothing there without that excitement.
So that was kind of funny. I feel like some funny kind of scenes with the other cat, like the other crew, kind of like trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And Rose and Harry, so cute together, great chemistry. I mean, I don't know what else to say about this episode. It was a great episode. I really, really enjoyed this episode for sure.
The next episode...
okay. Yeah, I think that's basically... there's one note that I said that Doc was a little bit creepy in this episode because he kept kind of following around the pregnant blonde. Maybe he was just looking for some work as an abortionist, but he... at one point they're dancing, like she and Dennis are dancing, and you see Doc like lurking in the background, like watching them, which I thought was kind of creepy.
Well, which is something that is pretty consistent in this series. Like what you find out through episode to episode. Like he really infuses himself in people's sex lives. Yes. Like it's uncomfortable. Yeah. Next episode is episode 9. Oh, right. And guest stars include Zsa Zsa Gabor, who's amazing, and Joan Van Ark, who plays a kleptomaniac in love with a therapist. Now, I wrote on the side, this could be its own movie starring Kristen Wiig.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Like, it has that feeling.
It has that feeling.
Like
to
it's
it,
just that little tiny storyline. They could absolutely make some like cheesy little 90-minute comedy with Kristen Wiig as the klepto,
100%,
falling in love with like who, I don't know, Richard Gere as like the psychiatrist. Perfect.
That'd be
Perfect.
Great.
Cast
Perfect.
it. Done.
And Erin Gray was in this episode as well
with Ron E. Lee, who was played Tarzan, right? And later, what was he in? He was a football player that became an actor. Like that was kind of common back in the 70s and 80s. But Erin Gray from Buck Rogers.
Yes.
Right? Am I right about this?
Erin Gray from Buck Rogers. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And Greatest American Hero. She was in Greatest American Hero.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite the
beautiful.
career.
What a
she's
beautiful,
gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Well, that is a note. I have it right here.
Yeah.
I'm going to read it how I wrote it. Over and over again, the women are gorgeous, and the men ... are not. How did that happen? Who cast this thing? It's like the women are not only like facially beautiful, their figures, their bodies are like what?
Just
my god!
I know.
And then they shack them up with these guys that are like really.
Right.
You know.
Like, that's not believable.
Right.
Yeah. Strangely enough, I don't have a ton of notes on this particular episode. I think it was probably because I really, really liked it. And the captain's brothers.
Oh my god, I laughed every time.
Can I just tell you, I just love Gavin McLeod.
McLeod. I called him McLeod. Yeah.
I think it's whatever it is. Right. Gavin McLeod. I think that's correct. I just think he is so underrated. Like, he's such a good actor. He played three of his brothers in this particular episode. And he did them all great. Like, in fact, I think it was Emily was watching, and she didn't know it was the same actor.
So so Captain Stubing, Gavin McLeod, whatever, plays. Yeah, so for a long time he's playing just two roles. The brother who's like this smarmy womanizer, money hungry guy,
right?
Gold digger essentially, and it is a completely different character. And he does a really good job. It is so funny. I laughed every time he was on screen. I really found him funny.
He's so good. And I thought they did really well considering it's the 70s.
Oh, the special effects were great.
Yeah, split screen and all that.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really great.
Let's see. He has some funny lines. The brother. He's like, hey, I'm a one-woman kind of guy. And he pauses. He's like, maybe a woman and a half kind of guy. But the women get some good lines too.
Yes.
So I can't remember the other actress who has to fight with Zsa Zsa Gabor through this whole cruise.
Yes.
But she has a great line. The names are Natalie and Annette. And so Zsa Zsa Gabor plays the ex-lover of Captain Stubing's brother. So now Captain Stubing's brother has a new woman that he's schmoozing, but Zsa Zsa Gabor wants him back. So she likes to rub it in this woman's face that, like, they had this amazingly passionate affair. And so she's like, yes. Doesn't he have an amazing appetite? And then Natalie, the new wife, says, yes, he does have an amazing appetite. Only now the menu has improved. I'm like, oh my god, ladies.
So good. I know, so sassy.
It's the love boat, not the sex boat.
Seriously, dude.
Oh yeah, Gopher making out with random strangers appears again. Damn it, what do I have?
Oh my god, I know, I can't read any of my stuff either.
Oh my god. So, what is that guy's name? Oh, Marshall. Because it's Merrill and Marshall.
Right,
so Marshall's the smarmy brother, and he says to Annette, Annette, that was the old me. I can no longer have this sexual relationship with you, this passionate relationship with you. And he's like, that was the old me. And she's like, darling, my cabin, 11:30 tonight. And he goes, and he says, I'll see if the old me is available.
Such funny lines.
The timing.
The timing is great.
Gavin MacLeod is really, really funny.
Yeah, he's good. And I remember just loving him so much. Like, just as the captain, he was just such a nice guy. Like, you wanted him to be your dad. Like, he was just, like, responsible but funny and fair and, fun. And, I mean, he was just such a great role model and all that. So I just
and we didn't do we already see Mary Tyler Moore show? And like he was so good in Mary Tyler Moore show.
He was so good in such a different character, 100% different character. So yeah, so good, so good. I thought it was funny that like they were going to cancel the TV Hero of the Year award because he because of the drama that ensued on the. He did a dive, like he didn't want to be in a real fight.
Right. So I wrote this. Odd award, odd ceremony, odd place for a ceremony, odd speech, and that was the only category and the only award.
That was it. Just the one. That was it. Just That's the only thing
about that made sense.
No, nothing. Nothing
else. Can we talk about Julie's amazing advice? We talk about this a lot in this program, on this podcast, of sitcom characters giving horrific advice. Yeah. The kleptomaniac character, played by Joan Van Ark, goes up to Julie and she's sharing how much she really has feelings for this psychiatrist therapist. Right. But now that she seems to be getting better.
Yeah, the problem was cured in one day.
Lifelong kleptomania issue.
Now she's done.
And so Julie, great advice. Well, if you fake your condition, he will have to keep seeing you, won't he? I'm like, oh my God.
What kind of advice is this? Seriously, Julie. Come on now.
I'm like, did she just say that? Because Julie's like, often the voice of reason.
And I'm assuming it's sort of like an alcoholic. Like one drink and you're going to go back to drinking, right? Yeah. So is that the same with kleptomania? So like if you steal again, did you get that same high?
But here's the funny thing. It's not, because you're exactly right. It's not only pretend,
right?
But to prove she's to pretend. Oh my God, how can I say this? To pretend she is a klepto, she has to steal. Right. So she suddenly dumps out her pocketbook and she has stolen wallets, and I mean, it's out of control.
And that's a great way to start a relationship, right? Right?
Yeah.
Lying about not only
lying about your medical condition,
your medical condition. Yeah. I mean, yeah, terrible advice. Yeah, she's the worst.
I did say, like, in terms of that award thing, I wrote, this is so bad, and I rewrote it. I just wrote, like, why not have it be a fan club cruise? That would have been much more compelling, right?
Gosh,
what if everyone on that cruise, because they have those, like, so what if it was like, this cruise all about fans of that show. It's a hugely popular show. Everyone knows this guy. So make that the whole point of the cruise.
That would have been awesome, because then that would have made more sense for, like, the guy coming up saying, oh, what a, blowhard or whatever. And, like, it would have made so much more sense.
Yeah, so I just solved that problem.
Yeah, good job. Good job. I don't really have much else to say about this episode.
Okay.
I did write at one point, did the brother cheat? It was unclear, but then you find out that he didn't.
I had that same note, because I wrote, what's weird is, I said, as funny as this is, he is cheating on her, right? And then I wrote, her fiancé is with another woman, and Captain Stubing says, oh, he's not there. And she says, I know where he is. And the laugh track goes crazy. I'm like, it's not, if your husband's cheating on you, it's not funny. Or if your fiancé is cheating on you. Yeah. So then and I wrote, the twin stuff is done really well here. I think I agreed with you before. My last note on this episode, and I was like, wait, what? Erin Gray says, so Erin Gray was the agent of the action hero.
The action hero, yeah.
And she says, so, I guess you guys... So someone says to them, like, they're leaving. I think Julie says, oh, so I guess you guys are an item. And Erin Gray says, that's right. And she says, so you're not going to be his agent anymore? She's like, no. Agents get 10%. Wives get 50%.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, throughout the whole thing, it's very, very much like women are the second-class citizen.
But also, they're getting married.
Oh, and they're getting married. Well, you know what, though? That's more believable because they've known each other.
I guess
at least
so.
they've known each other. People are getting married after knowing each other for 5 minutes.
On the Love Boat.
Yeah, the Love Boat. Which, I mean, a lot of this, you just have to say, okay, well, it's the Love Boat. That's just what it is. But at least with them, they at least knew each other for years. That felt a little bit more realistic, I suppose. So let's move on to the next episode, unless you have other things to say. Was it 11?
This is episode 11. This is the Christmas episode.
Okay. So this is the Christmas episode, which was cute. I was happy. I actually watched this during Christmas, to be honest. It was
a long time ago.
It was a while ago, yeah. So, because I was so excited when we had decided to do this, I'm like, and I know it takes a while when we're doing the series.
To chip away.
It does take a while. So I'm like, I'm doing this. So I was happy to see that it was a Christmas episode around. It was right after Christmas, actually. But anyway, so Dirk Benedict, Alan Jones, Jack Jones, real father and son team.
Jack Jones, who sings the theme song.
Yes. Yes. Lorraine Stevens, is that right?
I don't know.
Lawrence Stevens?
Well, it was Dorothy L'Amour, right? Was that
Dorothy
this
L'Amour.
episode?
So this was one of those episodes I didn't know too many of these people. And Mino Pelus.
That's
Do you remember him?
No.
I remembered his face, and I'm like, he's been in a million things. He was in Punky Brewster, and I think he might be her real half-brother.
In real life?
In real life. They
look alike.
Yeah, I think they're
so
half
funny.
brother and sister, and he was on Punky Brewster.
Wow.
I don't know what he played on Punky Brewster. But I remember him being in everything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember him.
Dirk Benedict is from the A-Team, of course.
Yes.
So speaking of the kid, I wrote, my first note on this episode is, this kid's annoying AF.
Yes.
He is so annoying.
Very, very annoying, yes. And if I was him, so basically he's a stowaway, and he pretends that Dirk Benedict is his dad.
Yeah.
So that's how that starts. And obviously Dirk Benedict doesn't know him from a hole in the wall.
Dirk Benedict is a total player.
Complete player. He's checking in. Mm-hmm. I think he's talking to Doc.
Yeah.
A woman walks by and he says...
I wrote it.
Go ahead.
Should we say it at the same time?
Sure.
Think it's too late.
Wonder if it's too late
for Santa.
To put that on my list to Santa.
Yeah.
So it's basically the same thing. I don't know.
That's it. Yeah. Or is it? Think it's too late for Santa to put that on? Oh, you're right.
To put
it
that.
is. To put on my list.
Because he referred her as that. To put that on my list to Santa. I'm like, what the fuck?
I underlined that, Christina.
Yeah.
The women are not.
This is what
they are. Yeah,
I still loved it, but still. And one of my least favorite storylines of this.
Yeah.
The bird storyline.
Yeah, wicked stupid.
Yeah, super stupid. But what I thought was interesting about this particular episode, so there was there's a father-son duo that are fighting, and their spouses are trying to get them back together.
Yeah.
There's the stowaway, and then there's a bird that Captain Stubing wants to give to Vicki, and Gopher and Isaac are supposed to be taking care of it until the grand gesture or whatever, grand presentation. Yeah. And they accidentally say Captain Stubing is a jerk, and of course that's the line that the bird repeats. But what I think is really interesting about this particular episode is it is very rare. In fact, I don't remember any other episode that does this. I'm sure there are. That storylines cross each other.
Oh, she wants to give the bird.
So she gives the bird to him.
Yeah.
But even more so, at the end, the little boy bumps into the father of the other storyline, of the father's son singing.
Yeah.
And he learns from the little kid or whatever. I thought that was cool how that happened. That never ever happened.
No, it doesn't.
But it definitely happened in that particular one. And he was like, Mino was sort of like enthralled in all of the different little storylines. But I thought that was really interesting.
But God bless, that kid is a bad actor. Especially when... So he cries. Okay, so basically the whole thing is... And I had written to Christina, I was like, Christina, I did hear that episode 11 is a very special episode for some reason. And So this kid, the Scotty kid, who's the stowaway, finally, Captain Stubing catches on that he could be a stowaway, so he's like, Scotty, come here. He's getting him ready for bed, right? And he's like, and I don't know why he had the kid have to take his clothes off, but Captain Stubing sort of insisted the kid take his clothes off and change.
That was uncomfortable too. Like, he was insisting, like, yes, take it off, take it off, take it off. Like,
come on, you can't wear your clothes to bed. It's like, let the kid wear his clothes to bed. Ew.
Yeah, but it was uncomfortable.
Well, but then, of course, he takes his shirt off, and he has all bruises all over his back.
Oh my gosh.
Scotty is a participant in the foster care program of America, and his foster parents are beating him. This is the plot point here, because if they weren't beating him, Scotty would just be another annoying kid, and he would care. But finding this information out, Dirk Benedict's character decides in minutes that he will go through all the legal hoops to adopt Scotty, so he's never beaten again, even though at every turn, Dirk Benedict has told this kid to beat it and get out of here.
Yes. Which is, obviously he doesn't like kids. And, there's a lot of assumptions that he's going to even qualify for this type of thing. Like, I don't think he would even qualify for it. So I think he's going to get thrown back into the system. I thought it was interesting that Captain Stubing sees bruises all over this kid. So not only does he not call authorities, but he also does not even approach Dirk Benedict's character until like the next morning or something. He waits forever to even approach him. Like, wouldn't you have grabbed him like immediately? To me, it took a long time for him to like confront him.
It was interesting though, because I was actually surprised at how much legal conversation there was about this idea, because then you find out that they did reach out, and they found out from that they had to go through these steps to make this happen, and then people had statistics and stuff about foster care, and like I was like, oh, this is like definitely a very special episode. But yeah, I think to me in my mind in that moment it was like, well, he probably wants to stay there with Scotty to make sure Scotty's safe, and what if he went to the dad and dad's like, I want my son back, even though it's not his kid. But maybe he was just like, let's just have Scotty have one night of peace from the beatings. And also, what about the woman Dirk met on the cruise? She's suddenly a wife and a mother now.
Yeah, seriously. And did she, I'm assuming, we're assuming they're going to get married because they met on the Love Boat, and that's right. That's what happens. Did she, I don't remember much about her. Did she have any lines? Like, I feel like she had like one or two lines.
She said
she was total like handbag. She was like his handbag.
And again, like gorgeous, like not an ounce of fat on her body, and she's just there. She's just like window dressing. Just smile and
She was like the reason she was like just the reason why Dirk didn't want to be with the kid.
Right.
Like that was. It's like, hey, I'm trying to make time here.
Yeah. What's what he wanted for Christmas.
Right.
Okay, so I have to say, I wrote, people really fall in love on the Love Boat.
Yeah.
Getting engaged, at least 3 couples in the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Leave, like, to get married, like, even, like, a Doris and,
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how the couples are just leaving to go get married.
They're just going to go get married. Bye. And it was funny, I didn't remember any times that they were crew members in a storyline. Like, I don't remember that part of it.
Yeah.
That they would have, like, a housekeeper is part of this. Like, I thought that was kind of funny that I didn't remember that at all. One of the other consistent themes during these 6 or 7 episodes that we saw, during those 6 or 7 episodes, there were 3 stowaways.
Oh my God, Christina. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. I mean, one of them was Charo's character. So it was an accidental stowaway.
Yes, yeah.
But it was her and the 2 kids.
Right.
But the other 2 was the private investigator, the pretending private investigator was a stowaway.
Yeah.
And then this little kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like, every time we turned it on, like, Matt didn't watch all of them with me.
Yeah.
But he's like, another stowaway?
Yeah.
like, there's not a lot of security here.
It's just listen. It's just Julie and her clipboard.
Yeah,
that's mistakes are going to be made. Yeah,
that is the security.
So let's quickly talk because that performance by the father and son.
Oh God.
Oh my God, is it bad?
Terrible.
I wrote. It seems like a drunk practical joke. So the song is called "Song in the Air," and there's a part where they're saying "Senorita."
Yeah.
And like. Senorita, and like I'm like, oh, I think I just sounded better than them. And then they're trying to join everyone. They're trying to get everyone to join. What do you have, Christina?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I just saw my note as you're saying this. Yeah. I wrote duet song, the worst! ! So annoying.
Christina, I was like, this feels. It is so bad. The singing is so bad, and Jack Jones can sing.
Yeah,
I mean, he sings, but it's like, oh my God,
it was terrible.
It was really bad.
And one other thing about that storyline was, I thought it was really funny that they're like sneaking. They didn't want each other to know that the other one was on the ship.
Yeah.
Yet one of them, I think the son, was the headliner, and there's a poster of him right at the entrance. This is the headliner.
Right. This is your cruise entertainment.
They usher the father by, but I'm like, is that the only time it's mentioned? Just one poster on the whole ship?
I meant to ask this. Have you ever been on a cruise?
I have not. Have you?
I have. I went on a cruise with Naomi.
Bermuda.
Oh my God, and it rained every day.
Yeah.
But and it wasn't a carnival. I mean, I forget what the cruise was out of Boston. It was like Boston to Bermuda, but trust me, you cannot escape. Like, I was on the wrong cruise for sure, because I should have been on a younger, more fun cruise, because truly, you go back to your room at the end of every day, and there is a menu on your pillow with a chocolate, and it talks about everything that's going on the next day. Truly, so just as an example, this was mine. Like, this deck, bingo. This deck, super bingo. And this is not a joke. This is 100% true. Deck 3, super snowball bingo, which is like bingo started from day one, just keeps growing and growing. So, and then they'll say entertainment, like the entertainment for that night and where it is. There's no escape. Like know what's going on on every deck of this cruise every day. Mm-hmm. And they'll even go around and tell you what's going on. Like, we're doing this and the blah, 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 blah. Like, you can't escape it. So they know.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Bad idea.
Christina.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, how do you gift wrap a son? Remember that line?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. Well, on that storyline, I wrote, just what a homeless kid wants, a parrot to take care of.
I wrote, Vicki is giving Scotty her parrot. That's expensive, and it's a commitment.
And it's a gift from your father.
Listen, everyone listening.
Yes.
Never give an animal as a pet. Are you kidding?
And especially a homeless child.
Come on.
He doesn't even have a
place to live. That's so good.
How's he going to find bird seed?
Yeah, that's right.
It was so inappropriate. Like, so ridiculous. And this is before he was turned into a present himself.
1,000%.
So, that was funny. But I did say the abuse storyline was a dark turn. There was a $10 bribe for the bird. What was that? Oh, that was
they showed when they were off the boat. And they actually showed that scene, because that's where I thought you were going to mention. Because I don't remember a lot of the non-cruise scenes.
Oh, and this is the conversation that Captain Stubing had with the father. Can I have a moment with you? You shouldn't be taking out your problems on him. Scotty is covered with bruises.
Oh my God. Should we take a little break?
Oh my God. Yes, the one last thing about this episode,
please.
yes, we can definitely take a break, is the Santa suits at the end were a bit much. All of the crew were all in Santa suits. Yeah, that was enough.
Yeah.
That was enough of that.
Because when we come back, episode 12, just as a warning, everyone, episode 12 gets dark.
Oh, wait a minute. What was episode 12?
It guest stars Jessica Walter.
Oh.
That's my chair, by the way. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back.
Hey there, it's Brian and Christina.
We just wanted to take this break to thank you for listening to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you have any questions, comments, or observations, shoot us an email at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. Thanks for listening, and now, back to the show.
Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you.
Oh, come on. Who is not going to want to watch that
Right?
show after listening to that?
That is the jam.
It is such
It's
a
such a
jam.
jam.
So, and we should say that we watched this on, we were trying to find this.
Yes.
I think you can probably get some episodes at your library
You can
and things
YouTube
like that.
and stuff.
But if you want to watch season 4, you need to have CBS Access.
CBS All Access.
Oh, all access.
CBS All Access. If CBS All Access is listening to this, we would happily take some sponsorship.
For sure.
But
Absolutely.
CBS All Access, actually, they're not paying us a dime for this, but they do a free trial, and that's kind
They
of
do,
how
and
we
that's how I watch it.
this. Yeah.
So,
Well, I still have it. I kept it because
You did?
because the Real World's on there. There's RuPaul's Drag Race. There's a few other things.
Yeah.
But I mean, Carl's interested in the new Twilight Zone, so I won't keep it forever. But during winter,
Yeah.
COVID, like it's fine.
I got rid of it.
It's not super expensive.
but I may get it back. We'll see.
We'll see.
Right now, we watch a lot of other stuff. So
Episode 12, The Love Boat.
another very special episode.
I know. I mean, this one.
This
oof.
one was good. This was a good one.
You know how you knew shit was real in this? Because Captain Stubing calls Doc Adam.
You know it's serious
real.
when he uses the
It's
first
serious.
name.
That's right.
So this one had Jessica Walter and Lou Ayres. Who was that?
I don't know.
I wrote it down. I was trying to write down the guest stars as they passed the anchor or whatever it was. And Linda Goodfriend, who is Lori Beth on Happy Days.
That's
that what
where
you
she
were
was
trying to figure out?
Yeah, I was completely wondering where she was from.
Wow. And that was one of the things I really liked about the Love Boat too, is they would have like these old, classic stars, right? Like Zsa Zsa Gabor and Charo and things like that. But then they would have like almost like the B-listers, right? Like the Lori Beth. Like where else would she have gone? So I liked that. A lot. You never knew what you were going to get.
Exactly right. And the guest stars was interesting because you could make say certain people guesting on a Love Boat would make $1,000 a day. Mm-hmm. Some of the bigger stars could make up to $25,000.
Holy crap! I want that gig.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I think what it would happen is they would make arrangements. So say if you were who was the big star then that was on the show? I don't know, Nipsey Russell.
Sure.
So he would they would just arrange it where he would have to commit to so many days, and so he would say get $25,000 for 2 days of work.
Yeah.
But if you were say not so great, they could kind of sort of extend you on, but they'd pay you $1,000 a day for your whole storyline.
Sure.
And they wouldn't have to rush scenes and all of that. Also, a lot of these bigger scenes took place on a cruise ship.
Wow.
And you could pay as a civilian to be on
Are
the
you
Love Boat
serious?
while they're filming those certain scenes.
I would have 100% paid to do that.
So it would cost you a minimum of $3,500.
I don't even care. I would have paid it.
Up to, depending, isn't that crazy? Depending on where they're going, $8,000.
Wow.
But you would sign a release. So a lot of times what you're seeing, particularly around the swimming pool, those are just regular people.
I can't believe
the
that.
extras, you sign up, you pay. I mean, you basically are paying.
Yeah, you're going
to be
on a
Love Boat.
cruise.
You're not making a dime to be on the Love Boat.
That's
you're
amazing.
Paying to be on Love Boat.
That's amazing. I never knew that.
So yeah, in this one, we said Jessica Walter, who would later be in Arrested Development. She was also at that point had probably been in Play Misty for Me. I can't remember when Play Misty for Me came out, but a great actress. But stuck with her character anyway. Stuck with one of the most despicable husbands ever to board the Love Boat. I mean. And the audience is like on his side. Like the audience is on his side. Like this laugh track is on his side. Like he says, quite a boatload of beauties.
Cuties.
Cuties?
Cuties.
Oh, I had beauties. Whoops. How about this one? If we ever split up, I'm coming here to celebrate our divorce.
It's unbelievable.
What? Are you kidding me?
So yeah,
are you kidding
I had
me?
So many problems with the storyline. I mean, just again. Not giving the woman enough credit. She never speaks her mind at all.
No.
So he's a total douchebag.
Yeah.
He's constantly looking at other women. He's constantly berating his marriage. And he said something like, oh, maybe I won't wear my ring tomorrow. Ha, ha, ha. Like, it was a non-stop assault on their relationship. And she never said anything.
Nope.
She was never like, I'm unhappy. Please stop saying that. For some reason, she was always just very quiet about everything. What she found attractive about him, I will never know.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a very toxic kind of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no real explanation as to why he was being like that either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one thing if, like, had a near-death experience and now he's like, you know, oh, now I'm living life to my full... Like, is he just constantly like this? Or is he... Like, I never really understood...
Like a flat-out open womanizer who is telling his wife how hot... His beautiful,
wife.
thin wife, tan... I mean, she is beautiful. She is coiffed. Her hair is done. She looks gorgeous. And he is telling her, to her face, how hot he thinks all these women are.
And it sees no problem with it all.
Yeah.
Terrible. So, she ends up latching on to one...
So Doc, ever the observant Doc.
Ever the lurking
The
Doc.
lurking Doc. He sees what's going on right from the jump, and he can see it on her face. Why her own husband can't see this is a different question. But Doc approaches her and says, listen, you know, if you ever need to talk, you can come to me. Well,
and she had a headache.
She has a headache.
Yeah.
Can't imagine why.
Right.
And so she goes to Doc with her headache, and Doc is very nice and helps her, gives her some, basically aspirin.
Yeah,
and
gives her 2 aspirin.
He also
did he ask something? He asked did I write it down? Like, are you allergic to?
Well, yeah, but also he actually explains aspirin. Like he's like, so take 2.
Oh no, he doesn't. He doesn't. So this is. I said Doc has the worst dog examination ever. Eyes, ears, and throat. I guess you're right about having a headache. He checks her eyes, ears, and throat, and that determines whether she has a headache or not. And then he doesn't take her temperature, and he never asks if she has any allergies or anything. He just hands her the 2 pills.
Well, so here's the flip side of that.
Yeah.
Then he tells her with the pills, and he's like, so take 2 of these, and if your problem persists or worsens, come back and I'll give you 2 more. I'm like, if they didn't fucking work the first time, why am I taking more? But it's so, but then it was very this guarded thing, and I'm like, is there a medical expert on the set of The Love Boat being
no, I can answer that question for you. No, definitely not.
But it was so crazy. I like the way that scene was handled, and then he.
I just have to say this one thing about the husband. One other thing he says. Yeah. He says to the wife, who's beautiful and thin. Yeah. Don't you wish you had a body like that?
Oh my God. Christina.
And then laughter goes crazy.
I don't understand. Why laugh tracks? They kept putting the laugh tracks after what he would say.
They thought it was hilarious.
This isn't funny.
It isn't funny.
Oh my God.
Maybe that's why they had to put the laughter in it, because it wasn't so funny.
Yeah, it was a downer.
Sorry. So anyway, go on about the Doc's.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna get a little confused, but it's she goes back again, and he basically says that she's an attractive woman, right? He says something like
Does she go back again?
He compliments her.
He said something like, I don't know. He just basically gives her a compliment.
Yeah.
It's just a simple. It wasn't.
She does go back though, because remember, she leaves. She's all dressed up for dinner, and she just leaves her husband there. She's like, I have a headache, and I'll be back. And she doesn't come back. She goes to see Doc, and he helps her again. And he does say, "Oh, you're," he's like, "Well, you're a very attractive woman." Blah blah blah.
Yes.
Because she uses that towards the husband. Says, "Well, Doc said I was attractive.
That's right."
And then he says, and he asked if he could see me again.
That's right.
And
That's
she
right.
just twists the words around.
So, yes.
To make her husband jealous. Not perhaps realizing his reaction would be, I am reporting Doc. Mm-hmm. The husband is going to report Doc to the captain and say, your doctor sexually harassed my wife.
So that's where the episode turns.
Takes a turn.
It takes a turn.
And does it really ever take a turn?
It really did.
I was surprised.
I was very impressed
at
how they handled it.
Yeah.
And so, he brings these charges. So now Captain Stubing calls Adam to his office and asks about it. And I thought it was a pretty good...
It felt like real.
It felt like a real conversation.
Meaning, like, that is the way you would handle that if you were a boss.
100%.
Yeah,
and he
seriously.
knows, and the thing is, too, it was good that it happened to him because he is sort of a womanizer, right? Mm-hmm. So you could see that actually kind of the boss sort of questioning, like, are you sure nothing happened?
Remember what Gopher says?
He goes, really?
No, exactly. But remember what else he was like, wow, Doc, the first woman you don't make a move on. Right? It's like, oh my God. But
I wrote down that when the captain was telling the crew, Gopher was like all excited. He goes, really? I laughed.
That was funny. Yeah.
But that was really funny. But I loved the advice, that this conversation that they were having, and and Doc was like, I need to go talk to her, and he had really good advice. He said, no, I don't want you to go see her. I don't want you to be alone with her. And there was already one misunderstanding. Let's not make it two. So I thought that was really good advice.
Mm-hmm. I also wrote to that same scene. They interrupt each other a lot in that scene, and I felt and that's when it felt real. And I had that note. It's like they keep interrupting each other, and that is how I feel like that would play out. Like when you're innocent, your boss is talking to you, and you. Your whole career is at stake.
Yeah,
you're not just going to sit. Exactly. You're not just going to sit there and go, I understand.
And I'm sure, he was just as surprised.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't even did he give her a peck on the cheek? He might have given her a peck on the cheek. Because I was going to say, there wasn't even any physical...
Well, but I feel like he did touch, didn't he, touch
well, they had to give her an
examination.
But I mean, when they're standing in the doorway, he gives her the compliment in the doorway as she's leaving.
Oh, God, I don't remember if he gave her a peck on the cheek.
But I don't remember. He might have... I could see him doing that to anybody.
My God. Real quick, to backtrack a little bit, that guy, the husband, nudges Doc at one point when a pretty woman walks by, and he says, hey, Doc, pipe that.
What?
He's like, excuse me?
Oh, my.
Pipe?
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Oh, my. Yeah, so...
But, again, great scene between Doc and...
Great scene, real,
Captain.
And all that. And I thought it was interesting. So then they end up having a meeting at the end where the couple is sitting in there, and Doc is there, and everybody, they're all having this, and Doc, Captain Stubing is like, all right, well... And he believes Doc.
Yeah.
You never really doubt that he believes, although Adam... I'm going to call him Adam.
Yes.
He's, serious.
Mm-hmm.
He, I think, questions it. He's like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
But he has, a fake wire that he's going to wire over to the authorities.
Right.
To talk, to press charges, basically. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I just want to read to you what we are going to be sending over. It was, really kind of brutal.
Yeah.
And then the wife is just like, wait, I forget what she said exactly, but she's like, he's going to lose... Will he be able to practice somewhere else? Mm-hmm. That's what she asked. Yeah. Will he be able to practice somewhere else? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, so you're okay with him getting fired from here as long as he can practice somewhere else?
Yeah.
where the hell are your morals?
Right.
Like, you need help, lady.
Well, it's like she doesn't want to destroy him.
Ship's getting fired is okay, though.
Fired from the ship.
Fired from the ship
Not
is
ruining
fine.
the man's entire career.
So I thought that was really rotten.
It was kind of crazy. And I will say there's something else about that. Damn it, no, I don't have it. Oh, but so can I jump to another storyline?
Yes, of course.
So basically, this is the one with the sunglasses guy.
The sunglasses
guy. The master, I wrote down from the School of Stefano DiMera's School of Disguise. But yeah, he puts on sunglasses and no one knows who he is. So it's great. It makes perfect sense. But what's great is when he finally confronts his girlfriend for being on this cruise with this guy, what she says is, I was only with him to make you jealous. Really? Because the whole thing was a secret.
Right.
So that makes no sense at all.
No sense whatsoever.
She snuck away.
She was a jerk anyway. Yeah, it was obviously a lie. And I thought, again, another sexual assault. Yeah. Because then the boyfriend comes in and he's mad and he goes to the, Lori Beth character and he starts basically going to rape her.
Yeah. Well, because she pretends to be like an agent, right?
Yeah.
A talent scout or something. That was super uncomfortable.
So, again, with the sexual assault,
no
problem.
Just
another
boat.
sexual,
and that is interesting, right? Because it's the same, it's the same thing. It's like, because Doc is really facing the consequences of something that didn't happen. And then here we go with this is like just flat out sexual
and nothing
assault.
Will be said.
And nothing's gonna, it's just like, oh, okay. So, I did laugh out loud. There's the elderly couple.
I love the elderly couple.
So it turns out that the husband just retired from being a mailman, working crazy, working his entire life away, and now he's finally retired. And the wife, surprise!
It's their anniversary. It's their 40th anniversary. Did you see that? Their 40th anniversary. They look 85 years old.
They look really old.
There's no way that they should have said it was their 60th.
Yeah.
And it would correspond with the picture. They show the wedding picture, and that's like in black and white, like set in like the 30s or something.
Well, it would be though, Christina.
No, that would have been 60 years ago. It looked like it was 60 years old.
Wait a minute. If it's there, this is 77.
Right.
40 years ago would be 1937.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They look older.
They look a lot older to me.
But what was interesting is he calls her a Jezebel. He's like, because she's been taking money from like the grocery money and investing it
in Apple,
in
AT&T, Xerox,
$200,000.
Yes,
and he freaks out because he maybe didn't have to work so hard. Which there's some logic in that, because if he had stopped working 10 years ago, like, the stocks wouldn't have been that high.
True.
So, but I understand his point. And that's also her keeping secrets from him. But he calls her a Jezebel. And I was like, I was like, wait a minute. And by the way, there were no laugh tracks when he called her Jezebel. I was like, ooh, that's dark. Because Jezebel to me is like, you're sleeping around.
Yeah,
Isn't that
it's
what
like a
slut.
Yeah.
So later on, though, he says, I'm sorry I called you a Jezebel. And I'm like, good, because it made no sense. So... Yeah, but I actually kind of like that storyline.
I really liked it too. I thought they were really cute together, and I liked all the little nicknames that he had before, the Jezebel name, like Rosebud and all that kind of stuff. But it was funny, like that whole cheapness of it was like always thrown in there. Like, well, she was never known for fixing fancy victuals. She kept me a little thin.
Also, a really funny line with Captain Stubing when they're at the captain's table, and he's like, let's get some champagne to celebrate. And she's like, can we have the money instead?
Yeah.
And it ends on kind of a perverted pun. So, Mary Beth from Happy Days says to the man with the sunglasses, well... You may not be a real spy, but last night you proved you're a pretty good undercover man. I'm like, excuse me.
Well, that's one of the things I wrote in here. In fact, on this episode,
and
I wrote
laugh tracks.
That the episodes, every episode ends with a corny joke. Every single, it's like a big, like a dad joke. Every episode, and it was really funny. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, that's kind of, it's a little sassy.
It's up there with the appetite and the menu.
Right. But I did love that the older couple storyline. I loved how how mad the husband got at hiding the money, and I felt like that it was a good point that she was hiding. It was like more like a trust thing.
Yeah, right.
It was like, I thought it was a pretty real fight.
I liked it. Yeah,
I really liked it too.
I thought it was good. Yeah.
And I never thought for a minute they weren't going to make up.
Of course.
Oh,
but you know what was funny about that though? When they went downstairs and like the party was like, he's like, oh, there's a whole little party planned for you. And they walk in, it's like there's like rock music playing. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
It was kind of like, this party's for them.
But was it? See, I almost felt like it was it was like a ruse.
Oh, okay.
But it might not have been. But and the only other thing that bothered me a little bit about the old couple was that she never apologized for hiding the money from him. Like, he kind of apologized to her for being, so mad or being whatever, but she never apologized to him.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was waiting for it.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh! So this is like the longest episode in history of our
it
podcast.
Just might be,
but it's so worth it
because every episode is 3 stories.
Yes,
I mean, I know our Facts of Life episode was long, but that tend to focus on. First of all, that was 2 seasons, but it's also because, but it only really focused on one thing per episode. But this is 3 different storylines, and as long as the crew gets involved,
the crew gets involved. So let's move on to episode 18.
Episode 18.
So that was with David Hasselhoff as a former love interest of Julie's, and the Pointer Sisters.
That's right.
And did you know it was written by Ted Lang?
I did notice that.
So I did a little bit of research. He ended up being quite. He was a writer and a director. He wrote books and stuff.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so good for him. So, yeah, I mean, not a lot to talk about. Oh, Audra Lindley was in this. Right, yeah. Mrs. Roper.
Yep. Which I don't think I would have recognized her.
Oh, no kidding.
No,
I recognized her.
I don't think I would have known it was Mrs. Roper if I didn't see the beginning.
Oh, funny.
But I don't have any notes on this episode, weirdly enough.
So, yeah, I mean, not a ton of... It's not like one of those special episodes, but, Audra Lindley had a husband who was afraid of water, so they decided to take a cruise.
I mean...
Come on.
But you know what's even better? When Doc never wanted to learn his lesson, intrudes on their relationship, and tells the wife, Audra Lindley, that, your husband may not just be afraid of the water, but maybe his words in 1977, sexually repressed.
Oh, jeez. Come on.
He said that.
That's crazy.
And Audra...
He should have been the psychiatrist of the boat.
Yeah, it was very weird.
He was,
Vicki, who, I don't know quite what Vicki's job is, but I want to see her working papers. I want to see her working permit.
Yeah.
She's a little too young to take a role on this cruise.
Yes, agreed.
So Vicki sees David Hasselhoff walk in and give Julie a big hug, and Vicki, at the age of 13, says, "Now that's the way to start a cruise." I'm like, is it Samantha Jones?
Seriously.
You're 13.
Seriously. That's not the way to start a cruise.
Pipe that, Vicki.
Definitely not, yeah. So, I will say what was funny about the life jacket thing was he walks onto the cruise with a life jacket, and it says Doc next to it. I think Doc said this, might have been somebody else. Do you suppose he knows something we don't? Which I thought was really funny. So the other storyline was Isaac trying to be discovered.
Yes.
Which... So, one thing I was kind of disappointed about, throughout the whole episode, I'm waiting to hear his performance, and he never performs. We never hear what he does.
It shows you the very, very last second of a performance, and you don't know how it goes. Not only that, the only performance by the Pointer Sisters is they sing Happy Birthday.
Yes, they just sing Happy Birthday.
The big number where they're discovered is never
No,
shown.
you never see what they do. You have no idea.
It's so messed up.
It's so messed up. I mean, I almost feel like it was cut or something, which is... I mean, you would think, like, that was the whole center of the entire episode.
I know, it's very weird.
Their performance. So basically, yeah, he ends up asking the Pointer Sisters to be background dancers... background singers for his performance because he's trying to impress... an agent of some sort. And they...
Oh my God, that was funny. So this agent allegedly discovered someone in a sewer, right?
Yes.
Like down in the gutter, and he discovered this like jazz, like I don't know, sort of homeless, I guess, jazz musician.
Yeah.
And he made him famous. So Isaac said, he's like, you're gonna have a great time in this cruise. It'll make you feel like you were down in the sewer all over again, or whatever. What he said. I laughed a lot. It was really funny. Ted Lang wrote, as he said, wrote the story in the script, and you can tell he gave Isaac a lot of funny stuff to do, and I like that a lot.
So that was good. I was glad that he had his moment.
Yeah.
I mean, not much else to say about this episode.
Nothing.
I mean, Audra Lindley was a great support of the fiance, really going all out to try to support him and his fear of water. I did appreciate the fights that he had, the older man had with the kid.
Yeah.
That was funny, like fighting over like a floating device.
Oh my God, it got
Super
physical.
funny. I thought
that little kid, by the way, Jason.
Oh yeah.
Jason Herv.
Yeah, he was in a lot of things. He was in the Wonder Years,
and he was also in Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
So, but I want to say this. Is it Lauren Tooth?
Yes.
I thought she was really good in this episode. I thought she was really
good. Yeah, I liked her too.
In this episode.
I liked her too in this episode.
I actually liked her anyway, but like in this particular episode, David Hasselhoff is just trying to make up for last time. He realizes he made a mistake.
Former football star.
Yeah, she was a cheerleader, and he feels that he is looking back in his life and feels like he messed up because he should have picked Julie.
Right. So they dated for a short period of time, and then he ended up dating and marrying her roommate.
Well, they did more than date, Christina, because Julie says, "You never get over your first, and you were my first." So that, to me, means she lost her virginity to David Hasselhoff. Not a bad virginity loss.
No, that's not bad. Captain of the football team. Probably pretty fit.
I wrote this as a helpful tip. So everyone listening, here's the tip from this episode. I wrote this down, a great way to show someone you've moved on from your college football glory is to make them wear your championship ring around their neck for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
He's like, Julie, I'm a changed man. And this is like truly like the moment. Like he means this. That he's realized he needs to let those days go. He takes his championship ring, puts it on a chain, whatever, and makes Julie wear it. Like, that's not how you prove to someone you're over your old college football days. No. It was so weird.
It was really, really weird. She made the right choice.
Yeah.
So the end of the episode I thought was funny. He drops the life jacket overboard. First of all, why are you letting someone drop just something overboard?
I know.
Like, that's a safety hazard.
Yeah.
And it sinks. So that was funny. And then the pun. So this was the Ted Lang one with the singing and all that. The pun at the end of this episode was, this cruise was a humdinger. I have a couple of notes about the actors too, just because I looked up Ted, and he was a writer-director. Fred Grandy, he became a member of the United States House of Representatives.
Yes.
In Iowa.
I knew that.
He was also on Maude. Do you recognize him from Maude?
No.
He was Carol's boyfriend for 2 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So he had quite a role. And then, of course, Lauren Tews, she had to leave the series after 7 seasons because she had a cocaine addiction. You don't remember that?
What?
Oh my God, I can't believe you didn't remember that.
Christina, I didn't know this.
That speaks to our age differences because I definitely remember her leaving. Do you remember her leaving?
No.
And Ted McGinley was her replacement.
Oh, there's the photographer.
He was
I remember.
Yeah, he was the replacement.
They replaced her with a man?
Yeah, I think they had to. I think there were too many comparisons.
Okay.
So he replaced her, and it was a very quick move, and it was very publicized that she had some major addiction situations.
Is she still alive?
So it said, I think she died. I didn't know that. I might be wrong about
Let
that.
me
Yeah,
just
look it up. Look it up.
Sorry.
But what was interesting about this is when you look it up, it says it was a cocaine addiction. But I kind of clearly remember something about heroin and shooting up.
Really?
So I don't know if that's just been erased from her Wikipedia page.
She's still alive.
Oh, she is still alive. Okay.
She's 67. She's married and divorced 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really sorry. That's not true. She's married and divorced twice. Her third husband died in 2002. Personal life. Christina, are you absolutely sure about this?
I am 100%.
Lawrence was married 3 times.
100%. I know, it's hard to find. It's hard to find. But it is absolutely true because I remember her leaving and I remember it was drug related. I thought it was heroin. But then when I did some research, it said cocaine. But
Okay, here we go. 1984, after 7 seasons, Tews was replaced on the Love Boat after a highly public battle with cocaine addiction, which she eventually overcame. She did reprise her role as a guest in a 1985 episode and in the TV movies in 86 and 87.
Yeah.
Wow. She went on to star in the classic 1980s TV series The New Mike Hammer, Murder, She Wrote, T.J. Hooker, and Hunter.
Yeah, so that's good that she got work.
Wow.
But yeah,
I
remember
so
it was very, very publicized. I remember that quite.
She's good. That's really a shame.
Yeah, it was such a shame,
yeah.
and she's
so likable
because it was so. Yeah, it was such a different persona than what
she is very wholesome on that show.
So we have one more episode to go over,
yes.
And this is episode 19. It's our 3rd episode featuring a stowaway.
Yeah.
Charo is the nanny of 2 kids. Now, Charo, I'm glad that we have this Charo episode.
My God.
When you think about the Love Boat, for me at least, I think of Charo.
Charo, me too.
So, believe it or not, she's not the most...
I know.
Did you do some research?
Yeah.
Oh, you go ahead. Talk about this.
I was gonna make it a trivia question on Instagram. But, yeah, so Charo's been on it a lot, but the most common passenger guest star on the Love Boat is Florence Henderson.
Florence Henderson.
9 times in different roles.
Mm-hmm.
And one episode included Robert Reed, who played Mike Brady, and they share a knowing glance, but they're not in the same scenes together.
So cute.
Isn't that funny?
I want to see that episode. So yeah, I was glad to revisit Charo because I do remember her so much from being on the Love Boat, and I was afraid she was going to be too obnoxious, but I actually really liked her.
I wrote Charo. That's my note. I wrote, she is great in this. She is
so good.
Frantic. She's funny. She's sad.
Really funny.
She did an album called Coochie Coochie in 1977. Have you ever seen the cover art? The cover photo? Oh, you should.
Should I? Okay.
Oh my God. It's like the nip. I cannot believe they even allowed this cover. You can see. I would venture to say a little bit even more than her nipple in this shot.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not familiar with any of her music.
Yeah.
But I just remember her from The Love Boat, truly.
So the storyline is she is a housekeeper nanny.
She's the nanny.
She's the nanny. And she but she worked on the Love Boat, right? And then
I believe she was so her first introduction, I think she was I want to say she was a stowaway.
But then she stayed because they kept talking about, oh, you're back. I thought you left us to go be a nanny in Beverly Hills.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, because yes. I think this is her second appearance.
So, for some reason, they are on the boat saying goodbye to the family, which seems like they got awfully far.
Yes.
They probably shouldn't have let them on the boat. And then the kids run off, and she's screaming, and I believed every word of it. I bought every stick of this performance. I don't have too many notes about this other than to say it's a very full-on plot.
Yes.
Because the kids, she has to find the kids, and then she finds the kids, and then they have to pretend they're not on the boat, and then they get caught, and then they're part of the family, and then there's the new woman in the boss's life, but then you realize that Charo has feelings for the guy. Mm-hmm. There's so much going on, and she delivers every single emotion.
She's so good.
I love her.
She's so
she
good.
She sings in this episode. She sings The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, the Roberta Flack famous song, and I just wrote, amazing. What a pretty TV moment. She sounds great. I'm pretty sure she's singing live.
I would say
because
so.
her voice cracks a couple times and it's hard to do.
Yeah.
She only gets about 12 seconds out before she busts out crying and runs off the stage. But I am loving this Charo performance.
Yeah, she was so good. I'm so happy that I still loved her. I thought she delivered her lines perfectly. She was like everything you say, funny, and like her sad moments were sad. And one thing I really appreciated is again, they were not supposed to be on the boat, and then she was trying to hide from her employer because she didn't want him to be, upset or whatever. And so at one point they're near a gift shop and he's coming around and they're like, the new wife or the fiance or whatever is hide in the gift shop. So she hides in the gift shop and of course the guy comes into the gift shop.
Because the woman sends him
because she's
in
a she sends him in. She's
awful
a bitch.
Person.
She's a little bitch. And she they're posing like dummies. And I think in an other sitcom they would have gotten away with it. But I'm so glad they didn't. And he's like very smooth. He's like, yeah, I'll buy those dummies over there.
It was surprising.
It was surprising and fun. And I was so happy that he noticed them. So fun. But she was great. I was so happy that I still liked her a lot.
I want to just quickly say, again, I want to go back to an earlier point that I was talking about. This story with Charo, this is like, this could be a J-Lo movie in the 90s, right? It's like made in Manhattan. It's like she's in love with the guy that she works for. She works in his house, the whole thing. And then the other plot, there's another storyline where the friend, there's a mother and son on the cruise, and the son brings a friend. Those are college-age kids.
Yes.
The son's friend has a crush on his friend's mother.
Yes.
That is a movie plot
100%.
because anytime a young man's in love with an older woman, that is the plot.
Yep.
It never matters when there's a older man in love with a young girl because that's just how it is. But have you ever seen the movie Adore with Adore with Robin Wright and Naomi Watts?
No.
Oh, it's super. It's
gosh,
actually on
I'll have to
paper
check it
it's
out.
quite disturbing, but it's like a guilty pleasure cheesy movie that you should watch sometime.
Yeah,
I recommend
it.
it.
I'll have to do that.
That's basically the plot. Like, it's these two best friends, and they're friends forever, and they don't see the kids for a long time, and then when the kids join them on this vacation, the kids are like Abercrombie and Fitch models, basically.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Robin Wright behaves inappropriately.
Good for her. So speaking of that, that relationship or whatever, I mean, it's pretty predictable. That mother-son friend crush thing.
You thought it was predictable and he like just grabbed her and kissed
No.
her?
I meant like the resolution of it and everything. I felt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was just sort of like you knew what was going to happen, and
Well, she accepted the flowers. I thought that was strange.
I thought that was strange.
The other thing though, she says something weird to him, and I was like,
I have it written down probably, but go on. You say it first. It may not be the same thing.
It's about maturity.
Okay, no.
Okay, she says something along the lines of, I'm gonna botch it. I should have written it down. But basically, she says to him like, as he matures, he'll realize da 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 da. But she also says like that she is flattered by this attention, and I wonder if she was a different actress, if they would have leaned into that idea. Meaning, because you don't really get the sense that she's flattered, you get the sense that she's horrified by this.
Yes.
I like pretty consistently, actually.
But then how would they... So, what do you mean leaned into that more? Like,
well,
do you think it would be a different outcome?
No. Meaning even her facial expressions. What if she was like, when they're dancing, like, what if she was like, what if she like lost herself for a split second and like felt like his hands on her skin and was like, but had to snap back into it. But she was completely above board the whole time.
Yes.
But then she says something to him about maturity. I'm like, is she speaking about herself or is she speaking about him?
Interesting. You read way more into it than I did. Yeah.
I like the storyline.
It was a good storyline, but it was funny. So I did write at the back, at the end. So this is funny. I wrote, was the unknown reason you were leading him on? Question mark. I don't know what that meant. So Billy says, I really loved you. And then I wrote 10 minutes ago. Like, he's all of a sudden over it. Like, he's all of a sudden over it. I'm like, that was quick. So then she writes, dumb kid or not. Oh, no, this is what he says. Dumb kid or not, I really loved you. And then this is what I wrote. She goes, Frank, I hope my son gives me lots of grandchildren. And when they say to me, Grammy, what are you smiling about? I'll be remembering what you just said. Is that the most bizarre thing to like reference? So like when her son has grandchildren and the grandchildren ask her why she's smiling, she's going to be thinking about this moment that, oh, Uncle Billy had a crush on me and attacked me and that's why I'm smiling.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I feel like the actress played it wrong.
Yeah, she should have.
I feel like there should have been some. Listen,
a spark.
Her actions could have been the same, but the facial expressions when he's not looking could have been different to add some more oomph to the storyline.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
like the
Absolutely,
storyline.
I think that would have been a lot better.
Yeah,
I agree. And the other note I have on this episode is Ralph Bellamy was in it.
Right.
From
Trading
Places,
okay.
which Matt had to look up because I was like, that wasn't where I remembered him from. Pretty Woman.
Oh my god, of course. Slippery little suckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty Woman, because I'm like, oh yeah, he's from Pretty Woman. And Matt's like, no, he's from somewhere else. He had to look it up. He's like, Trading Places, that's what it is. So, oh my god, what a nice revisit.
Oh my god.
Did you like it as much?
I liked it more because I'm older and I could understand more of it.
Too. I'm so happy. I loved
the
cheesiness. I loved the corny jokes. I loved the characters.
There's a lot of meat to these stories. We talked about
much
this.
more than you expect.
Yes. Yeah. It tries to say stuff about relationships and about falling in love and what's important and what's not so important and it feels like a cruise.
It does.
Because a lot of the scenes, like I said, some of the scenes are filmed unabout. A lot of it's filmed in sound stages, but it really feels it has that cruisy vibe.
Yeah.
And it's a good time. And because here's the thing, if one storyline sucks, you have two other storylines to focus on.
It's true.
Yeah.
And
I think that's why it lasted so long.
I think it lasted that long too because, you do, like, even if, like you said, if one sucks or if you're not interested in one, you're looking forward to the other
stuff.
It's almost like, it's like a soap opera, right?
Yeah,
it's just like a soap opera. So it makes sense that Aaron Spelling was so successful at it.
That's a really good point.
Right? They're all like little mini soap operas. So
Questions? I have a question. And it's a real match game.
Oh, good. Do you
have an FMK?
I can do, yeah.
Okay.
I think I do have one, but let me see. I wrote them all down. So, okay, yeah, no, I'll do an FMK. But let me think about it. Well, actually, it's nothing to think about. Okay. Do you want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Doc, Adam, is it Bricker?
Bricker. Yeah.
Doc is such a womanizer.
How much of a womanizer is he?
Thank you for asking. His prescription pad includes his blank.
Okay. I could go real nasty on this, but I'm not going to. Oh, my pen's running out of ink. I'm just going to say what it is. Unless you want me to find the pen right now. Let me borrow your pen. Oh, I guess I can't really.
Okay.
All right. You're not going to be able to.
All right.
But that's fine.
I'll take your word for it.
Actually, it's kind of working.
Okay.
All right. Ding.
Ding. All right. Doc is such a womanizer. His prescription pad includes his blank.
His home phone number.
Oh my god, yes. Yay! I wrote personal home phone number. Yeah. That's so funny.
Very, very cute. Yeah. Okay. I like that question.
They could have gone a few different ways for sure.
Yes.
Like I was like, yeah. We know.
I'm gonna keep it PG, like the Love Boat. All right, so I think you can predict what my FMK is going to be.
I'm gonna, take a while.
It'll be Gopher, Isaac, or Doc. And I'm guessing... Oh, yeah, I need to write down what I think you're going to do.
All right. Okay, here we go. I'm done.
Okay,
Ding.
I know what you're going to do. Good.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to F Gopher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to marry Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to kill Doc and his smarminess.
Interesting.
Because I just couldn't trust him. But
right.
Isaac is a laugh riot. I think he's a nice guy. I think he's a blast. Marrying Isaac would be a fun time. And he makes great drinks.
Yeah.
Gopher is just a good time, quirky weirdo. It's like, sure. I mean, he has no problem with the ladies. He seems to have a lot of confidence for unknown reasons.
Interesting.
And Doc is just a disgusting sleazebag. Who hits on his patience?
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, that was alleged.
Alleged, yeah. Alleged.
So I got the married right, but I thought I flipped around the other two.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just didn't think that you would find Gopher attractive enough.
It's one and
bed.
done. I would one and done.
Well, I mean, Doc's not either, but he has the experience that I feel like he would be a seasoned lover. But I would agree with you in your choices for me.
Yeah.
So I would also.
I don't think I'd ever. I mean, I'm a married man, but I don't think I'd ever want to really have sex with a doctor, like a health.
Yeah, that's
physical.
true.
Because what if you're like doing something? What if he's doing something or you're doing something? And he's like, I feel a lump down here. Like,
oh my god!
Talk about ruining the mood.
Seriously.
And I just wouldn't want him like comparing. I don't know. It's just weird. It would feel.
But
weird.
he would know the human body.
Would you ever have, if you were single? Would you ever like have sex with a gynecologist?
Never.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Right?
even. I wouldn't even give him my phone number. It wouldn't even get to a first date. Nope.
Well, I mean, you would hope. I mean, he wouldn't hit on you then, but like if you're at a bar.
Oh my god! Imagine if he did.
And
Hey.
he's like, what if you really hit it off with this?
Now that I'm down here, what do you think of dinner?
No. Oh, but even the flip side, like, what if you're at a bar and you're like really hitting it off with someone, and he's like, oh, so it's like you're like wrapping up the evening, you're ready, and he's like, what do you? I never asked you what you did. He's like, oh, I'm a proctologist, or oh, I'm a gynecologist. Like, I don't know. Not because of what he does, but because of what he would do to you. That is my issue.
100%. Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't care what he looks at.
But it's like he knows too much. I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
too much. Exactly. I'm not big enough of a woman.
That took a turn.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
The Love
Oh
Boat.
my god, so good.
CBS All Access.
Yeah. Or
Free
check
tr-
your
free
library.
trial. Check your library, but season 4 is what we focused on. So
yes.
Yeah. And that is it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there, please.
If you have an idea for the show or a suggestion or comment, you can email us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
Thanks again for listening. Until next time.